Anywho, that totally got me off what I was talking about. Prophets are different. They have different assignments. They have different, therefore, different trainings and things like that. One of the things that I noticed that does, that they all encounter, or more so than not, right, is being called something that they're not. Being called a witch. It's interesting that Saul went to a witch. He was off. Because sometimes those that may lead may come to a place where they want those around them to be yes men, although they will say they don't, but they do. They want those around them. They want the prophets to use the gift of exhortation to spur them on into their own desire, what they, what their agenda is. A partner with me in that. And when the prophet does not, refuse to, and the prophet stands with the Lord, not against them, but stands with the Lord, that prophet is then deemed a witch, divining, turning the people against them, not God, them. That's something that prophets notice too. That people don't sometimes, a leader may not mind you doing something that is contrary to God's will, but don't you dare do something that is contrary to what they desire. Don't you dare. Now God is against you. God has something against you. You will be called something that is contrary to your identity. You will be called something. And that's why your training sometimes is in the fire. You're not trained outside of the fire as a prophet. You'll be trained in the fire. Some prophet, their parents are in church. And that's their assignment. They will, from a young age, encounter things within the church concerning the people of God. And the Lord will start then molding and shaping them. And they grow in the love of God towards them, know the knowledge of the love of God towards them at an early age. That's not always the case, but often it is the case. If you're raised by heathens, and the Lord at some point in your life will call you to himself and then send you, during that time, you still have to learn God's heart towards you, because you will be accused. You will be called any and everything else, so that people will not hear you. One of the things that a prophet may have and not know it and not understand it is influence. Not someone trying to become an influencer by gaining followers online. Way before this time, people act like, what did people do? How did God use his people, his prophets, to influence before there was a social media? But you would have influence, and you may not know that you do. You have the ear of the people, and you may not know that you do. People may stop and heed things that you say, and you don't realize that they are. Okay? But others do. And that's why sometimes a prophet who is in a house, that prophet may be asked to do certain things, take up offering. Why? Because that prophet have influence. That prophet has a gift. And before that prophet realized how to use this gift, those around them want to use that gift for themselves. Come on. David won wars, fought enemies for Saul. In the name of Saul. He did. He was sent out. He was sent on missions for Saul. And because of what was on his life, he won those battles again. Everybody's not a David. I was in a space and I was being accused of trying to get people to myself. Now, again, you can have influence. People are going to be drawn to you. I remember one leader said, well, you do have a draw on you. I didn't know what they were talking about. I really didn't know what they were talking about. They were in their head or they was in conversations with other people. And when they were talking to me, they were still there. And I didn't know what they were talking about. So I was being accused of drawing people to myself. I didn't think anybody was drawn to me. I just was trying to, I didn't think so because people knew that they was aware of that, they were trying to keep people from you. Have people around you. I had people where I noticed that they wanted to call me. They would Nicodemus me, they want to call me and talk to me outside of, but then when we come in church, they're talking to me, but they're looking sideways and they're watching who's watching. Pay attention when there are leaders watching who talks to you. That lets you know chatter is going on. And then people would distance themselves from me. But then they'll say you're rejected because you let them know. Like, it's like, okay, if you're scared to be seen talking to me, I'm not going to try to talk to you. Like, hey, then you're rejected. You got to overcome rejection. That's true. Because you will be rejected by the very people you're sent to. You may be received at first, right? People will say a prophet is a prophet until the prophet begins to function like now the prophet is being arrogant and they're full of themselves because they're confident in what they are and they don't need you to make them, feel like somebody or something. So yes, you'll deal with that. So you have to overcome that. You'll be given something and then it'll be snatched away. If it's given to you by man, it can be snatched by man. So your confidence has to be in the Lord. Your rest has to be in the Lord. Your peace has to be in the Lord. Your joy has to come from the Lord, not the leadership. And sometimes people become offended at leadership because they were requiring leadership to give them their identity. Their identity doesn't come from them. Be at peace with all men, yes, but your peace should come from them. So I was being accused by witchy people of being a witch. I was accused of drawing people to myself, and I didn't even know people was drawn to me. I'm looking like, well, why am I still up speaking in things? Why, like, sit people down. Leaders should not, is very confusing. I believe that's the enemy too. It's very confusing. It's a mind game where you have people, give them a mic, have them speaking, have them sharing, teaching, but yet in the background calling them all kinds of things. It makes no sense. Sit them down. Don't give them a mic so that the people who are watching won't be confused either. Because that's what they're saying. Well, why? Now, if you're a prophet and you get up and you say something to make the pastor look good and feel good, oh yes, that was a word from the Lord. That was God. Do not be confused. There were times that the Lord would give me a word, and I had no idea what was going on behind the scenes, and so it was addressing those things. I had no idea. I had no idea. They thought I did, but I didn't. Right? So the Lord would keep me out of the loop, so that I would say and would not struggle with saying what He gave me. I shared it. I sat down. One time I was told in that ministry where the Lord was training me to stand against the witchiness, stand in the midst of it, and declare the will, the heart of the Lord. Being able, training me to stand before people who accused me and wanted me gone. And then when I wasn't gone, I'm standing before them still teaching. But I couldn't teach with impure motive. When I hear a pastor be frustrated, throwing things from the pulpit at people instead of exercising their authority and talking to people, I recognize it. I could use, like, you go in a ministry And you can hear it. And I'm like, okay, the pastor mad at the people. They're throwing shade. Instead of shedding light, they're throwing shade at people that they're trying to get to do something. You're not God. You don't get them to do what you want them to do. Share the word of the Lord and sit down. Get up, speak up, shut up, and then sit down. It's a sacred space. It is not for you. You can use your telephone and call people. You can email people. You can text people. But when you get behind that sacred desk, that's not your time to get at people. Another thing I was accused of, because certain things didn't work. So, I had a thing for I was being accused of having a thing for the pastor. So in this time of, we're exposing this and people sleeping with this person, I was accused of having a thing for the pastor. Because know this, prophet, if they cannot move you, they cannot run you off. They have to distance you from the leader who may have a heart. And so then if they can't get the leaders to distance themselves from you by saying things about you, because I went through that, like, Celinda could do no wrong. That wasn't the case. What they would have to end up doing is get the leader to be offended at you. And the way that it was done with me is the leader was in idolatry. They idolized a particular institution. And so they used that. Kind of like with Daniel. The people around him knew the weakness of the leader, of the king. So they used the weakness of the king to accuse Daniel. They did that. I encountered that. So sometimes when you are a voice or a prophet's counsel, when you are a trusted voice in a house, they have to come against that. I encountered that. So prophets, you can't take certain things personal. You have to know where you are, what the Lord is doing at that time, so that you won't sabotage it yourself. Witchcraft consists of intimidation, manipulation, and domination. And it's a cycle. If you can't be intimidated, then you'll be dominated. If you can't be dominated, then you'll be manipulated. If manipulation don't work, we're going to start back with intimidation. When they start trying to get the leader to distance themselves from you, just know that is a tactic in a cycle. The accusation is usually a last ditch effort against the prophet in a space. Do not move until the Lord tell you to move. I'm not telling you to be okay with abuse, but you do know your Savior was falsely accused, right? He did not abandon where God, his Father had sent him, simply because he was being accused. He was being lied on. His brothers even accused him of drawing people to himself, trying to make a name for himself. I was accused. One of the things that I was accused of was, and not to me, it wasn't even said to me. It was being said about me. I had a thing for the pastor. Mind you, pastor was a woman. I'm going to say this too. If you're a leader and you have people in your ministry accusing people about, like saying they have a thing for you and all of that, don't treat that lightly. This is your work that this accusation is coming from. If they will say that and say someone has a thing for you, those same people will accuse you once you do stuff they don't like. Don't think that the accusation against other people in your work, especially if they're leaders, don't think that the accusation won't touch you. It might not be done the same way, but they're bold enough to say. I remember a leader lying on the pastor to me. I knew that leader didn't say that. So I said, well, if they did say it, they're lying. But I knew they hadn't said it. With all the accusations and with all the exposures and things going on, pastors, leaders are accused by the very people who accused others to them. Don't accept an accusation without addressing it. So I'm assuming that maybe the leader was defending me, and so they were bothered by it. So then, okay, we have to separate. Like Daniel, like those with Daniel, we're gonna have to separate. We're going to have to cause the leader to see that person is against them, and then it will be shut down. I remember the Lord saying to me, the weakness of the leader is being used against them. So, Prophet, yeah, we have different stories. Everybody don't have the same story, because everybody don't have the same assignment in certain seasons. That was mine. I never shared it. The idea of it was just crazy. Those that are witchy, their speech of slander, gossip. Now I would address that. They gossip and slandered the people of God. No reverence. So familiar with people that they look at you and they do not see God. You know why? Because when they look in the mirror, they do not see God. They know that they're messy. They know that they don't care. They know that they just want to control. When they cannot control you, they want to assassinate you. So I went through a season of that. The assassination, if that doesn't work, then they'll try to get people to betray you. Again, why don't we consider that the things that they did to Jesus, the people of God, they will do to those who he sends? Do not be discouraged, as if God see you like they see you. And God is saying about you what they're saying about you. He is for you. There's more for you than against you. The angels of God that excel in strength are for you, but they carry out the will of the Lord concerning you. His word, rather, concerning you. Learn who God is when you're going through these spaces and places. Christ is being formed in you in the pressing, in the reshaping, in the renewing even of your mind. Don't allow a root of bitterness to grow up in you because of your own doubt and unbelief. Choose to believe what God is saying, has said about you, rather than what is being said about you by the people who he's sending you.